Okay, boys and girls, it's another episode of Putzing in the Shop. I promised on my last video I was going to do an install on the tail tidy and the flush mounted turn signals on the BMW 2015 BMW S1000RR. I have already opened this box, kind of started peeking at this stuff, but we got this stuff from Moto Million. A shout out to them for what it's worth. Got a key fob out of the deal, a couple stickers, and the tail tidy. I think I mentioned before this was one of the more expensive tail tidies out there for this bike. NRC brand. But the reason I got this one is because of the flush mounted turn signals right in the bracket here that look pretty clean. And then along with it I got the front end flush mounted from NRC as well, flush mounted front end turn signals, which will replace the kind of sticky outy turn signals that come stock on the bike. So here we go. I think it's going to be pretty straightforward plug and play kind of thing, but we'll see how it goes as we get into this thing. Okay, the first thing this thing has is it's just basically 3 bolts back here. It's a T20 star washer, and I'll break them loose with the socket. They're not really that tight. Okay. There's some zip ties to cut. Don't really have to take these off necessarily because I don't think we're reusing the hardware or the turn signals, but to get to the wiring, you basically got to get this thing off the mount. So, okay, so we're just pulling this off. Get some slack here. Pops right out. Okay, it's becoming apparent that you got to get the lens off. I probably wouldn't have had to have taken it off the mount here because I think we're going to get to the wiring through this front side of the signal, not the back. Even though I'm not going to reuse them, I don't really want to break it, so I'm being careful. It takes a small screwdriver in this slot right here. She'll pop off. Yeah, there is a tiny little screw at the end there. That would have been nice to know. Probably the smallest Phillips you got. Yeah, she comes right off when you pop that screw off. Who knew? Okay. Little push and a twist, the bulb will come out. Reflector back, and then we can get to our wiring, which you just pull. It's a spade type of connector. You just pull, off she comes. Okay, we'll just repeat the same thing on the other side. Okay, you pull that screw first. You don't have to pry back there. So my apologies there, I wasn't sure on that. Not even going to pull the bulb, just pull those two spades. So now the wiring will pull right through the turn signals. Okay, for the license plate light, I'm going to pull this whole thing back away here. There's a couple star washers or star screws back in here. It's the T20 again. I think it'll be easier to get this thing apart with the bulk of this off. Yep, she just pulls right out of there, bulb and all. Oops, so off that goes. I'm gonna wait till we see where we're at on the new piece before I pull that apart. Okay, in mounting the plate, this happened to be probably a Minnesota thing, but I just cut this little notch out of the license plate because it was really kind of pinching up against this wire. It's just the license plate light wiring, but I just didn't want that to, it was kind of pinching on that. A little extra protection there would be prudent, so I'll just throw a little electrical tape on there. Okay, of the three mounting holes up here, these are the only two that get used back here. This one basically is just covered up right here. So these two grommets had to come out of the old Fender bracket. So these squeeze those grommets on there. You get new hardware. These two bolts. Carve out this wiring up in here. Most of the wiring ends up underneath the passenger seat cowling area here. You can do the splicing of the wires up there. You know, on second thought, that welting is going to have to go on first because that basically mates right up here. Okay, I was going to call them and find out what this is all about because it's not long enough to go all the way around, but I realized it doesn't have to. It really, it's two halves. It's just long enough to do this twice. So one on each side. The front you're never going to see, and so it's just a nice clean welting for this back side here, and they even have it cut at an angle there, kind of nice to stick that on here. So we're gonna stick this on before we put it up there because it kind of is almost like a mating surface around this outside edge here. I'm trying to decide, should I drive it up so it's rubbers are touching each other, or leave the gap because there's a gap there. I think I'll leave the gap there. Looks a little better. I'll clean up this edge. So that looks pretty good. I'll go with that. Once it's up in there, it'll stay put. Alright, so that doesn't look too bad. I find it strange that the license plate light, just going to have to stick it up in there, I guess. It's there should be a hole for that to go up there. I might drill one. It just seems kind of lame to me. Okay, the new hardware is a 15 Torx bolt. So here's the silicone to act as a grommet because I routed that through one of the bolt holes there. The wire's all up in the hole there. There is a washer between the grommet and the plate. This one started. The other side started. Washer, bolt up against the grommet. Snug it up a little bit. Already looks better, huh? I guess there was room to route the license plate light up through that crack, but I still think this is a better way to go. This is cleaner. All right, I'm going to drop the bike down because I need to get to the top. Need to get to the wiring up here and get close to wrapping the tail end of this thing up. Okay, as you remember, we don't need this plug. The instructions do tell you to just go ahead and pull it off, snip it right off. I'm going to get my small dikes, cut this heat shrink back a little bit, get to the wires. This is for the tail light, or the license plate light. Okay, for the left turn signal, it says the blue-red tracer goes to the red wire. So blue and red goes to left red. I'm going to put some new heat shrink. Put it down here. Just going to cut this in half because it's already a little too long anyway, so there, I got my two pieces back. The way I know this is the left turn signal, because I can't really see it anymore, is it's shorter, so it's coming in the right side. The left one had to take a little longer to get up the hole here, so short should be left here. So the heat shrink on, and then all we have to do is, again, it was the left signal is the blue-red, and left signal brown goes to the black wire. Okay, this one spade is fitting just a little bit loose, so just gonna snug up the spade, the female, just a little. It doesn't take much. Don't squeeze it too hard or you'll ruin the spade and won't be able to get it on at all. So yeah, I just barely touched it. Now she's nice and snug. Okay, and then right turn signal, the blue wire goes to the new NRC red. Fits just a little loose, so again, just a little tiny little tweak. Just snug that up. It's better. Brown goes to the black wire. Fits pretty good. License plate, I need to strip those wires. So green from the airplane. Green from the motorcycle original wiring goes to the red on the NRC. These are very interesting little connectors. I've never seen anything like this before. You just screw them and the wire just ends up getting crammed in there. It's pretty cool. Green goes to red. Just gotta cram it in there. Okay, good and secure. Okay, the last wire, brown goes to black. Well, time will tell on these little blue connectors, but I don't know, they seem pretty secure, pretty cool, and they're reusable. And you know, if you ever have to resplice a wire or whatever, you are able to reuse it and not even have to shorten the wire up. So, okay, here we are, going live. Tail light works. I mean the license plate light. Left turn signal. Right turn signal. Looks like everything works. So I can tidy up the wiring here with some zip locks and put the passenger seat back on. We're done. I'll get to the turn signals up front. Installing the flush mounted turn signals and replacing these bulky ones. Again, NRC New Age Cycles product from Moto Million. No, 25. And as we learned on the back end turn signals, very small Phillips screwdriver. Pop the lens out. Pop the bolt out, just pull, kind of snaps out. Twist and a push and a twist should get the bulb out. Don't really have to, I guess. Because again, just have these spades. These, they're a mirror image of each other, so I'll figure out which one goes where. Okay, what they don't tell you is that you have to feed the wire through this hole and then out this hole, because the wire is going to go up that forward hole and then the back hole will be for the bolt. So if you don't do that, the wires, you know, won't go anywhere. So the red wire goes to the blue red. I had to snug these up too a little bit to get them to fit. So heat shrink. And the brown wire to the black. And we'll heat shrink those. And we'll use the original bolt. And do the other side just to make sure they work before I put it all together. So the other side's going to be done the exact same way. So we'll just come back to this side. Okay, power on. Before we install them, right turn signal and left turn signal. Okay, now all there is to finishing up here is feeding the wires back in, putting the bolt back on. So these took no time at all. If I had done this, I had to take it back apart to realize I had to feed those wires in correctly. If I hadn't have done that, this literally would have been about a 10 to 15 minute job total. So there it is. They're not exactly flush, but they're right up against it. So I guess I wasn't sure if they were supposed to be right up against the skin of this thing, but they're not. Pretty slick. We'll do the other side and we'll call it done. So there you have it. The Fender Eliminator tail tidy from NRC install on the 2015 RR, along with the flush mounted front turn signals. They're not exactly flush, but it actually makes sense that they are. There's a little gap there so it doesn't vibrate on the plastic and wear that out. Plus you can clean inside there. So really plug and play, pretty simple. The back end probably took me 45 minutes, maybe an hour at the most. And the front end 10 to 15 minutes, and that's eliminating all the time futzing around with the cameras and everything. So actual working on the thing, maybe 45 for the back and 15 for the front. Very fair. So pretty simple, not cheap, but a nice product, a good quality product. I'm happy with it. So there you go, and that ends this one, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.